Good morning. It's 10 o'clock, February 9th, 2026. My name's Katie Carter. I'm the emergency response meteorologist with the National Weather Service. And I think a lot of us are going to be very thankful for this forecast that we have here going into the next week or so. First and foremost, today, although starting off extremely cold, we had cold weather advisories that just expired at 10 a.m. and a lot of single digits out there. This morning, it was the last of the very extremely cold days that we will see, at least for the short term. Hopefully we don't have any other big drops, but kicking things off tomorrow and even the next day. So the next few days, we'll see bit of a warming trend, slightly cooler for the end of the week, and then really a more robust warming trend beginning into the weekend and especially next week. And most of the week ahead is going to be pretty largely dry with a chance for just a few rain showers, stressing the rain, Tuesday night into Wednesday. So for the most part, it's going to be a pretty dry week. And then we are keeping an eye on next weekend. I know it's just Monday, so a lot of things can change, but we are watching a system that could be a pretty good rainmaker into this upcoming weekend. So a lot, of course, to be seen and watched with that. As we get into the weather pattern here, rather benign the next few days, but you'll notice Wednesday, that is our next chance for a little bit of rain, and we'll see mainly in southwest Virginia, we'll see some pretty light accumulations. Now it's showing the chance in southern Virginia all the way to southeast Virginia too. Not really that great of a chance. The best chance for some showers is going to be Tuesday night and into early Wednesday in southwest Virginia. Now, the Thursday weather pattern, I think, is a little too robust. It's showing a little bit of a wintry mix and maybe some snow. You know, I suppose that's possible when especially Thursday morning. But we're not looking at accumulations in that sense. It's really just looking like rain showers. And then Friday, there's also a chance for maybe a flurry or two, but nothing significant. So here's our satellite loop that I pulled up this morning. One thing that you'll note is everything that is not moving. You can see that that's actually the snowpack that is on the ground. So especially in portions of the western part of the state, Piedmont, and definitely the Shenandoah, you can see a good bit of snow, and then up to the northeast and back to the Midwest. A lot of cloud cover to our east in the open waters of the Atlantic, and then sort of an interesting feature here. We were making a few jokes about it this morning just on the internal Wakefield National Weather Service call that is just such an interesting pattern that we see here, a very sharp delineation of a straight line there. It just kind of an interesting cloud feature. It just is a mid-level cloud feature showing some cloudiness in the southwestern part of the state, but nothing that's going to bring any rainfall today. And this is going to be a pretty quick briefing because there's just not too much to talk about. So as I mentioned, that rain chance Tuesday night into Wednesday, here we are, maybe just a few hundredths of an inch up to a quarter inch on the very high end. And most of it going to stay, again, west of Roanoke. That Weather Prediction Center map showed the chance for it being south of Richmond. Again, not many indications showing that, so very light in terms of precipitation. And then focusing on the second half of the week, the rain that you see here is, it has a chance of being a pretty decent rainmaker. This would be our weekend storm. So there is a really low chance, as I mentioned, for a few snow showers Friday, but not amounting to anything. But the precipitation chance is really increasing, especially into Sunday. So of course that could change a little bit, but it's looking like it could be a pretty good rainmaker come Sunday. So that is something that we are keeping in mind there. Temperature-wise today, despite it being still much cooler than normal for this time of year, it is warmer, or will be warmer this afternoon than we have seen in a while. So mid-30s to low 40s is what we're looking at. A good amount of sunshine, so we'll continue to see melting. I know there's still a lot of snow that's piled up, that concrete ice, as they're calling it. It is just so thick, so we really need to start melting that. And we will definitely see some of that in the coming days, come Tuesday and Wednesday, where we'll see 50s and even a few low 60s. So we are seeing a pretty decent warming trend come Tuesday and Wednesday. We drop back after a cold front Thursday, Friday, and even into Valentine's Day weekend, Saturday and Sunday. But Trends beyond that, I will show you, are pretty nice. We're going to be seeing upper 50s to low and even mid 60s for the middle and even end of next week. So that is going to be definitely welcomed and even on the warmer side of normal. Overnight lows still dropping down below freezing. So any melting that we do see in the coming days outside of Wednesday morning. So actually Wednesday morning it's going to be right above around or above freezing, but most of our nights are getting back down below freezing. So if we see a substantial amount of melting, say Tuesday and Wednesday, that cycle of melt and refreeze is going to continue. So watch out for some isolated slick spots on roads and things like that due to some standing water that freezes. Probability precipitation quite low, even Tuesday night into Wednesday, thus the low amounts of rain that we're seeing. And then you can see here that the probability really goes up on Sunday. So that is the time frame that we are watching the weekend, but kind of, at least for right now, centered on the second half of our weekend. And here's that extended outlook, our 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. The East Coast, specifically Virginia, the Carolinas down to Florida, right on that cusp of that sort of near normal to, just out of reach of the above average temperatures. But that's February 14th through the 18th. So beyond that bubble, I should say, of milder or even bordering on warm for this time of the year air will shift eastward to the East Coast. So just if we can hold on a little bit longer, I think the end of February will prove to be at least at, if not above normal in terms of our temperatures, which we deserve. We absolutely deserve after this very cold spell that we have been in. And looking at our precipitation, near normal to maybe even a little bit above normal, and that's taking into account that weekend storm from February 14th through the 18th, that later time frame, the 6 to 10 day higher than average precipitation, which we also need because we haven't talked about it in a while just due to the cold and everything, but we are still in a drought situation across much of the state. And just touching on this very briefly, our space weather forecast, we don't have any geomagnetic issues for our communication systems or anything like that. So all of our communications, GPS, that kind of stuff is looking pretty good with no solar flares. So I will leave it with that, pending any questions, but it should be a pretty nice period of weather and slightly warmer air heading our way. And this is the last briefing until we will send out an email briefing on Thursday. Of course, if anything comes up before then, you will get email updates. But our next live briefing, unless something major comes up, will be next Monday. Thanks, everyone.